Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. So today I want to talk about the subject that comes up when someone's on the spiritual path, having a spiritual awakening, or on a healing journey. And that is the importance of forgiveness. Now, this is, I think, a controversial subject, especially for people who might be new to the journey, recently had a spiritual awakening, or you are on a healing journey and it's fairly new. And so you're processing mistreatment and trauma and drama, betrayal, the list goes on. Behaviors at the hands of others that have evoked deep emotion in you. And there is this notion that in order for us to move on in our soul growth, that we have to forgive these people. And it sounds so easy. A lot of people will come on YouTube and you'll watch these videos and they'll just say it sort of nonchalant, like, you just have to forgive these people. You just have to forgive these people. Except it's not that easy, because there are a lot of feelings that are associated with the mistreatment. You have to process your anger, and you have to process your resentment and your hurt and your sadness and your disappointment. So it's not as easy as sometimes people will make it sound, but it is important nonetheless. And so what I want to just talk about briefly here is, how do you forgive these folks? So the first thing that you need to understand is that you really do have to forgive these people, because if you don't, holding on to that is going to only hurt you. It's going to manifest with deeper emotional struggles. It could manifest into physical symptoms. You could actually be experiencing, pains and ailments in your body that, doctors can't tell you what it is. And the bottom line is, it's these trapped emotions that are manifesting physically. Your soul is going to get stuck if you don't sort of release this energy. And so you have to forgive people. But Sean, how do I forgive these people? They mistreated me. They hurt me. They abused me. Okay, so I'm going to tell you firsthand, I know exactly what you're going through if this is you, because I have been unloved. I have been betrayed to the deepest levels. I've had disloyalty. I have had manipulation. I've had lying. I've had mistreatment. I have had slander. I've had stealing. I've had lying, and all from the closest people in my life. So I know. But guess what? I forgave them all. Here's how you do it. See, forgiveness isn't for them. Forgiveness isn't for the people who hurt you. See, I used to think that forgiveness was like, for example, in AA, when people are going through the 12-step program, one of the steps is that they have to make amends. And so what they actually have to do is go up and face to face, basically own their behaviors, their hurtful behaviors to the people they hurt. I can only imagine how difficult that must be, to have to just ask people basically for their forgiveness because of all the things that you might have done to them. So I always thought that forgiveness was like, oh, I have to like tell these people, I know you did X, Y, and Z to me, but I forgive you. But guess what? That's not what it is. You don't ever have to confront or engage with any of these people who did any of these things to you. You don't have to have any contact with them in order to forgive them. What you basically do is, in your own mind, you come to the understanding that they did what they did because that's where they're at. And you don't need to attach to what other people's soul path is or what other people's behaviors have been. What you do is just say, for my own health, I am just going to release this and understand that everybody is on their own path. I'm on mine. They're on theirs. Yes, they did all these things to me, but they did all of these things to me so that I could become the person that I am, or I can become the person I'm becoming. Because in a previous video, I mentioned and I talked about the idea that nothing happens to you, everything happens for you. And so sometimes when you are on a spiritual journey, you suffer deep pain at the hands of others. You experience these things so that you can then overcome them and elevate, because your job is to literally be the light in the world. Because don't we need more light in the world? And so in order to be the light, you almost have to understand what it's like to be in the dark. And when you get treated like this, you're in very dark places. Boy, I can tell you, I have been in very dark places. So by forgiving, what you're essentially saying is, I understand the bigger picture, and I'm not going to hold on to this anger and this resentment despite what these people may have done to me. I'm just going to like release it and not let it affect me, because it doesn't hurt them, it hurts you. And you're hurting yourself is really what you're doing. And so you just release these people, you release their behaviors, you forgive. You're not necessarily forgiving them, you're forgiving what happened to you so that you can now move on in your journey. All it is a mindset set. I'll try that again. A mindset shift. So realize forgiveness is for you. It's not for them. You don't have to face anybody and tell them, I forgive you for what you did. This isn't like going to church and going to confession. You just release the behaviors, release the hurt, release the resentment, release the disappointment, release the anger, release the sadness. And by doing that, you know, you literally, you win. You win. You overcome everything that was done to you, because what you're basically telling the divine is, I'm not going to let this bother me. I'm rising above this and I am moving on. So I hope that helps you. I think this is a pretty sensitive and can be a controversial subject. I know for me, I had a real hard time with this for a real long time. I'm like, I'm not forgiving these people, but I'm not really forgiving them. You know, they have to deal with their own karma. Like, they're going to have to answer for all their behaviors on their own. That's got nothing to do with me. What I'm doing is saying, I'm not going to be attached to this anymore, and I'm going to let it go so that I can move on. And I hope you can too. So thanks for joining me today. Please like, share, subscribe, and I will catch you on the next one.